Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to create this easy crochet shrug. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this pure cashmere yarn as well as a 2.5mm crochet hook. Now this yarn will provide me with really small stitches, which is the look that I'm going for this project. However, you can decide to use this technique and use a larger sized yarn and crochet hook, but that will mean that your stitches will also be larger as well. If you want your project to have a similar look as mine, I'll go ahead and link these in the description box below on where you can go ahead and get these items. So we first want to start by making a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever way is most comfortable for you. And then I'm going to make 90 chain stitches. To make a chain stitch, you can go ahead and yarn over and pull the yarn through, yarn over and pull the yarn through, yarn over and pull the yarn through. That's how you make a chain stitch, and we'll be making 90 stitches in total. The stitch horizontally should be able to go right across your bust area, and once that's done, you should be good to go. It doesn't have to be 90 chain stitches. I'll be doing 90 chains for this project. You can go ahead and measure yours to your body based on if the chains, once finished, go right across your bust. After completing your 90 chains, this is what your work should look like. And to start our first row after completing our foundation chains, I'll be doing half double crochets going all across the row. Now, I'm going to start my first half double crochet in the second chain. So this is the first chain of the row. In the second chain stitch, that's where we'll do our first half double crochet. Now to do a half double crochet, simply yarn over your hook like so, and then we're going to insert it inside that second chain stitch and pull up a loop. That's going to leave us with 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So I'll do that again. Yarn over your hook, and we're going to go ahead and insert it inside the next chain, which is here. Pull up a loop, leaving us with 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So we yarn over, insert into the next chain and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on the hook, we yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So the half double crochets are fairly simple to do. Go ahead and continue that going across the row, and you should have 89 half double crochets in total. Now this is what my work looks like after completing my row of half double crochets. And to start the next row, simply chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're going to start this row by doing 2 half double crochets. So that's 1 half double crochet in the first 2 stitches. So we'll start that by yarning over, insert your hook under the stitch, and pull up a loop. Now yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. That's our first half double crochet. And for our next half double crochet, we'll do that again where we yarn over, insert our hook underneath the next stitch, which is here, and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on the hook, we're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. Now we're going to change the pattern for a bit in this row, whereby we'll chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch, which is here, and in the stitch beside it, we'll do a half double crochet. So I'm going to pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So I'm going to do that once more. I'm going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and in the stitch beside it, which is here, we'll do that half double crochet where we yarn over, insert or hook under the stitch and pull up a loop, and then we yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So I'm going to repeat that once more. We chain 1, skip the next stitch, and in the stitch beside it we complete or half double crochet. So I'm just going to yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So you can go ahead and continue this going right across the row, and then I'll show you how to end the row. Now once you've completed the row, it should look something like this, where we have spaces in between stitches going across the row, and at the end of the row here you can just go ahead and chain 1 and then do 2 half double crochets in the last 2 stitches. So I'm going to do 1 here and 1 here. If you find that at this point you have an additional stitch, you can just go ahead and skip it. That's not important. What's important is that you do 2 half double crochets side by side as your final stitches. Now once done, chain 1 and turn your work. In the first stitch we're going to do a half double crochet, right in the space here we'll do a half double crochet as well, and then chain 1 and we do a half double crochet where we have a space or a chain 1 stitch. That's where we'll do our half double crochets going forward. So yarn over, insert your hook right inside the space, pulling up a loop, and then we yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. Chain 1, and then right where we have our next space, which is here, we do our half double crochets. I'll do that once more. We chain 1, and where we have a space we do a half double crochet. So we yarn over, insert or hook inside the space and pull up a loop, then we yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So go ahead and continue that going all the way across, and then I'll show you how to close out the row. So I've gotten to the end of the row and I'm at my last space here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a half double crochet inside that space, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to end my row by doing a half double crochet in the last 2 stitches. So 1 half double crochet here and another here. So that's 1 half double crochet, and then I'm going to do my last half double crochet in the last stitch here. Now with my row completed, I'm just going to chain 1 and turn my work. And I'm going to start the row the same as I did in the last row, where I'll do a half double crochet in this first stitch here. So I'm yarning over, inserting under that first stitch and pulling through a loop, yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops, and then I'm going to do a half double crochet inside the space. We'll always start the row by doing 2 half double crochets, and then I'm going to chain 1 and do a half double crochet in the next space. And this is going to be the pattern for the rest of the row, where we chain 1 and do a half double crochet inside the space. So this is pretty much how we'll do each row, and we want to have 33 rows in total of these stitches going upwards. So in the end your work should look something like this. Now this project will also have that distressed look where we have little holes placed throughout the work. I'm going to show you next how to create these holes and how to work around them. Now you can use your judgment to place holes wherever you'd like throughout the project, but for each one I'll show you how to do it. Now I'm going to make 5 chain stitches. So I'm going to yarn over and pull the yarn through. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to skip these 2 spaces, and in the space beside it I'm going to do a half double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 1 and do a half double crochet inside the next space, chain 1 and half double crochet, chain 1 and half double crochet, and I'm going to continue that through to the end of the row. Now closer to the end of the row here, I only have 1 space left. I'm going to chain 1 and work a half double crochet into that space, and then I'm going to chain 1 and work 2 half double crochets, so 1 side by side. I'm going to do 1 half double crochet here and another in our last stitch. So pull up a loop, pull through all 3 loops, and then I'm going to complete my last half double crochet of the row. Now this is how we'll pretty much end each row going forward. And to begin a row, simply chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're gonna do a half double crochet in the first stitch, which is here. Gonna work a half double crochet. And as we did in the previous round, we'll work another half double crochet right inside the first space here of the row. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into the space and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Each row will begin with a half double crochet side by side to each other. So we'll start by doing 2 half double crochets, and then we'll start doing the pattern, which is that we chain 1 and then we do a half double crochet inside the next space here, chain 1, in the next space which is there we do a half double crochet, we chain 1 and a half double crochet in the next space, and then we continue doing half double crochets going across the row. Now I've worked my chain 1 and half double crochets going across the row until I've gotten to where we did our 5 chains to create that distress look, that distress stitch, which is here. Now once you get to that point, what we're simply going to do to continue the pattern is chain 1, and I'm going to do a half double crochet on top of the chain there, the extended chain, and then I'm going to chain 1, and right on the stitch here I'm going to do another half double crochet. So depending on how many chains you do, depending on how large you want your hole to be, you may have to do more half double crochets on the stitch. I'd say do it going across the row until you have a very little amount of space left, at which point you can just chain 1 and then work a half double crochet in the next space in the row. And then continue the row as normal, where we chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1. We have our last space of the row here, which is here. Let's see. In that space, we're going to do a half double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, and that's going to leave us with our last 2 half double crochets of the row, on top of which we're going to do 1 half double crochet each. So 1 here and 1 right beside it into that last stitch. Each row going forward will end like this. This is how each row should end. And to begin each row, you chain 1, turn your work, and in that first stitch, which is here, we're going to do a half double crochet, and then in the first space created, which is here, we're going to do a half double crochet as well. So the second half double crochet of the row will always be done in that first space. And then after we've done our first 2 half double crochets, we continue the pattern where we chain 1 and half double crochet, chain 1 and half double crochet, chain 1 and half double crochet, and we want to ensure that we get 33 rows in total. So again, this is what your work should look like after completing 33 rows, and you will see that I've gone ahead and just littered the de-stressed stitch all over the pattern, and where you place it, it doesn't matter. You can go ahead and again use your discretion to do your placements. You just want to go ahead and sparsely place these distressed stitches to get the look that we're trying to achieve. So now I'm going to show you how we go about doing our shoulders, as well as the space for our head and neck. I'm going to show you how to do that. You'll notice that I have markers already placed on my work, and these markers are here to mark the space that I'm going to use for my shoulders, and then right in between them is the space that I'll be using for my head and neck section. Now what I did to place my markers was to count out 10 spaces from our 2 half double crochets here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and my marker is in that 10th space. And I did that on both sides so that it's fairly even. Now you can just go ahead and chain 1, turn your work. We're going to start with our 2 half double crochets, 1 there and 1 in the space, as we've been doing. And then we want to chain 1 and do a half double crochet in each space up until the point where we get to our marker. Once we get to the marker, you can just go ahead and remove it. I'm going to chain 1 and do a half double crochet in the stitch where the marker was. Now once done, I'm going to go ahead and make 60 chain stitches. To do a chain stitch, simply yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to go ahead and continue that until I have 60 chain stitches in total. You can also go ahead and experiment with this section to see if the hole created will be big enough for your head. If it needs to be a bit bigger, you can go ahead and add a few more chain stitches. If it needs to be smaller, you can reduce the amount of chain stitches that you have at this stage. Now I've gone ahead and completed my chain stitches, my 6 stitch chains, and now I'm going to remove my marker. And in the stitch where the marker was, I'm just going to go ahead and do a half double crochet. So I yarn over, insert my hook and pull up a loop, and pull it through all 3 loops. And then I'm going to chain 1, and in each space following that, I'll do a half double crochet. So chain 1, locate the next space, which is here, and I'll do a half double crochet in that stitch, and I'll just continue doing that going across the row. So you can go ahead and complete the row and start the next row as well, and then I'll show you how to complete the stitches going across the big space here left for our head/neck. Now once you've worked your way onto that section where we've cut out for our neck, it's fairly simple to do. We're gonna chain 1 and work a half double crochet, and then we're just going to continue to chain 1 and half double crochet going across the row. Now the number of stitches that you have at this point won't really matter. All that matters is that we do the pattern going all the way across our chains here. So you can just go ahead and do the stitches as close to normal as possible, chaining 1 and then doing a half double crochet right up until we get to the end here. Now I've completed the stitches going all across the neck area, so you'll see the same pattern being created going across. And once you get to the end of the row here and you don't have any more space to place a stitch, you can just go ahead and chain 1 and revert to doing the stitches regularly across the row here. So I'm going to go ahead and do my next half double crochet in the next space, which is here. And then I'm going to chain 1 and half double crochet in each space going across the row. And then we'll go ahead and close out the row as we normally do. Now the row that we just did would be the first of 33, so we would have done 33 rows going all the way up, and we're going to do 33 more rows going all the way down. But at this point you can just go ahead and continue the pattern, and remember to go ahead and add your distressed stitches. So you can just go ahead and complete the pattern until your back is completed, and then I'll show you how to go about doing the portion for our arms. Now after completing both sides, this is what your work should look like. So this is the front. We have the area in the middle there for your neck/head, and then we have the back. Now you'll notice I've done my last row for the back there where I did my rows of half double crochets and chain 1. The last row for the back, however, will be a row completed only with half double crochets, so you won't do a chain 1 stitch. And what I mean by that is that I'm going to show you, you chain 1, turn your work, and then we're just going to do half double crochets going across the row. So I'll do 1 in my first stitch there, 1 in the space, but where there was a half double crochet from the previous row, I'm also going to do a half double crochet on top of that stitch, so like this. So again, we do a half double crochet in the space, and then where there was a half double crochet from the previous row, we'll do a half double crochet right on top of that. And this will be the pattern for this row. So I'll do that once more, a half double crochet in the space, and where there was a half double crochet from the previous row, we'll do a half double crochet right on top. So go ahead and continue doing half double crochets going all the way across the row. So I've gone ahead and completed my row of half double crochets, and now I'm going to go ahead and get started on my sleeves. Now once you've completed your project up to this point, I would recommend that you try this on, so you can go ahead and stick your head in, try it on, and that's because you want to mark the spaces for your underarms. So you're going to try it on. What I did was that I used a marker so that I could mark the point where my sleeves begin, which is a little bit under my underarms, and I did that on both sides. Now we want to make sure that we mark the exact same space. So for me, I counted my half double crochets that I did on my project going upwards. I just marked the rounds going down, so I've counted 10 spaces altogether. So that's starting here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I've included my row of full half double crochets in the count, and I've done that again on both sides to make sure that it's even. Now I'm going to start by doing slip stitches to close the seam here, but I want my seam to appear on the inside, so I'm actually going to flip mine inside out. And then I'm going to make my loop much larger. I'm going to insert my hook right to the corner here, hook it to the loop, and I'm just going to pull that through. Now once you've done that, you can go ahead and adjust the size of the loop by pulling on your working yarn. And then again, I'm going to be doing slip stitches going up to the point of my marker. So to do a slip stitch, simply go ahead and insert your hook under the next stitch here, as well as on the other side. We're going to pull through a loop and then pull that through the loop already on the hook. Now at this point, the number of slip stitches that you do isn't really important, because the sides here, you can see that the stitches aren't that defined, but we're just going to go ahead and use our judgment to work slip stitches going all the way across until we get to our marker. So we're just going to find the next spot where our stitch would fit, which is here for me. And we're going to do that on both sides. Yarn over and pull through a loop, and then pull that through the loop on the hook. So I'll do that once more. We insert our hook into the next spot where our stitch would fall, pull through a loop on both sides, and pull that through the loop already on the hook. So again, we're just going to go ahead and complete this part of the project by doing slip stitches until we get to our marker. Now once you get to the point where your marker is, you can just go ahead and remove your marker. And then I'm going to do my last slip stitch of the round, which falls here. Now you can make this much larger, and then we're just going to turn or work back to the correct side. So you'll see now that the seam, this part, falls on the inside. So we've just completed our slip stitches, and we're going to go ahead and jump into starting our sleeves. Now we're going to start our sleeves by doing the pattern, which is a half double crochet and then a chain one stitch, and then we're going to repeat that pattern going all the way around. So I'm going to start off by doing my half double crochet stitch, and then I'm going to chain one, and then I'm going to do a half double crochet stitch. Now in the first space that we would create, I'm going to place a marker there, and this is because it's within this space that we'll be closing out the round. Now once done, you can go ahead and chain one and put your half double crochet stitch, chain one and a half double crochet stitch, chain one and a half double crochet stitch. You can go ahead and use your judgment for the placement as you go around. So continue the pattern and I'll see you when we get to this marker here. So I've completed the pattern going all around, and now I'm at the point where my marker is. So now I'm going to show you how to close out the round. Now I've done my last half double crochet, and I'm going to do my chain one stitch, and then I'm going to make my loop much larger here. Now I'm going to remove my marker from the first space that we would have created, and then I'm going to take my crochet hook and I'm going to insert it into that space from the back. I'm going to hook my loop to my crochet hook, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pull the loop through. Now you can also go ahead and pull on your working yarn to adjust the size of the loop. And going forward, that's how we'll be closing out the round as well. Now to begin the round, we're going to start by doing a half double crochet inside the space, that first space there. So I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook inside the space, pulling up a loop. Yarn over and pull the yarn through all three loops, and then I'm going to continue the pattern by chaining one. In the next space, I'm going to do my half double crochet. And now that we've created our first space of the round, I'm going to go ahead and place my marker on top of it, because this is where we'll be closing out the round. Now I'm going to continue to chain one and half double crochet in the next space, chain one, half double crochet in the next space, chain one, half double crochet in the next space. So at this point, we're pretty much going to be continuing the pattern that we've been doing throughout the project. Now for our sleeves, we also want to ensure that we place those distressed stitches all over our sleeves as well. So I'm going to add one here where I'll chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to skip 2 spaces, 1, 2, and in the space beside it, I'm going to go ahead and place a half double crochet. So this is going to be done in the exact same way that we did it throughout the project as well. Now once completed, we're just going to go ahead and continue the pattern where we chain one and then we place a half double crochet inside the space, chain one and a half double crochet inside the space, and then we're just going to go ahead and continue the pattern going all the way around until we get to our marker. So I've gotten to the end of the round and I have my final space, which is right here, and I'm going to show you how to close out the round, which we'll be doing in the exact same way that we did before, where we chain one. I'm going to do a half double crochet in my final space, then I'm going to chain one, make my loop much larger. I'm going to remove my marker, and in the space where my marker was, I'm going to insert my hook from the back, hooking my loop to it. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it through. So that's how we'll be closing out the round going forward. And to begin the round, We're going to do a half double crochet inside the space where we yarn over, insert into the space and pull up a loop, pull through all 3 loops, and we're going to continue the pattern going all the way around where we chain 1 and do a half double crochet in the next space. With this being the first space of the round, I'm just going to go ahead and place my marker on top of it so that I know where to close out the round. Then I'm going to just repeat the pattern going across the row. So continue doing your chain 1 and half double crochet stitches, and even when we get to the distressed stitch, we're going to be doing our chain 1 and half double crochet stitches going across that stitch as well. So I'm gonna chain 1 and half double crochet, chain 1 and half double crochet, and I've used up all the space here for my distressed stitch, so now I'm going to chain 1 and do my next half double crochet in the next space. Chain 1 and half double crochet in the next space, and we're just going to repeat the pattern going all the way around. Now once we get to our marker, we're going to close it out in the exact same way we did the last 2 rounds, and we're going to repeat the pattern here until our sleeves are as long as we'd like it to be. Remember to place your distressed stitches all over your sleeves as you work across each round. Now this is what my project looks like after completing my sleeves, and now I have 1 more row left to complete. Now for our final round, we'll be doing a round of half double crochets only, which means that we won't be doing a chain 1 stitch as we go around. So I'm going to start the round in the exact same way that we would have done before with a half double crochet, and that half double crochet would have been done on the chain 1 stitch from the previous row, which means that my next half double crochet will be done on top of the half double crochet from the previous round. Now I'm also going to be placing a marker on that second stitch there, because that is where we'll be closing out this last round. Now once that's done, we do a half double crochet on the chain 1 stitch and a half double crochet on the half double crochet from the previous round, and we're pretty much going to continue that until the round is completed. So go ahead and continue doing your half double crochets going all around until you get to this marker here. Now once you've completed your row of half double crochets, I'm going to show you how to close out the round completely. I'm going to do that by making this loop much larger, and then I'm going to cut my yarn, pulling it through. I'm going to take a crochet needle, going to insert my yarn inside the needle. And then I'm going to remove my marker, and on that stitch where the marker was, which is here, I'm just going to insert my needle, pulling it through. And then on our last half double crochet that we did, which would have been here, I'm going to insert my needle from the top as well as through the back bump here. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the yarn through. Now after doing that, you'll see that now all our stitches look the same. I'm also going to weave my yarn through the stitches here in the back to hide it, the tail that is, and it's also going to hold the stitch in place. Now in the end, this is what my sleeve will look like. And for me, I've gone ahead and completed 73 rows for my sleeves, including this last row of half double crochets only. But again, I would recommend that you try on your work, and you can stop at the point that is most comfortable for you. Now, once you've completed your first arm, the way that you do the other side, and you'll see here where I haven't started on this arm as yet, it's going to be done the exact same way though. So I'm going to take my yarn. I have my marker here. We already marked this spot out before, and I'm going to turn it inside out because again, I would like the seam to fall on the inside. Now taking my yarn, I'm just going to go ahead and from the extreme end here, I'm going to insert my hook through both sides. And then I'm going to wrap my yarn around my finger like this. I'm going to yarn over and just pull it through. Now once you've pulled your yarn through, you can just go ahead and chain one, and then we're going to do slip stitches going all the way up to our marker here. So it's done in the exact same way we did before, where I'm going to insert my hook and pull through a loop. And I'm going to pull that through the loop that's already on the hook. So I'll do that again. I'm going to insert my hook into the next spot, and this is on both sides. I'm going to pull through a loop, then I'm going to pull that through the loop on the hook. I'll do it once more. I'm going to insert my hook on both sides, pull through a loop, then I'm going to pull that through the loop on the hook, and I'm going to continue that until we get to our marker here. Now once we get to our marker, we can just go ahead and remove that. And then I'm going to do my final slip stitch. Now once done, you can make your loop a bit larger, and we're going to flip or work back to the outside, taking our loop here. You can just pull on your working yarn to reduce the size of the loop, and then you can go ahead and commence the work on your sleeves, and that's going to be done in the exact same way that we did before, where we jumped straight in with our half double crochet and our chain one stitch or half double crochet and chain one stitch, half double crochet, and we're going to do our half double crochet, chain one stitch, and so on, going all the way around. And then we're just going to go ahead and complete this side of our arm in the exact same way we did the other side. Now once completed, this will be our final look, and you'll see the sleeves here on both sides attached. Now if you found this tutorial helpful, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!